恭喜恭喜！我给你们看 She needs to go to China. 신화공 HSK 탄화장. I didn't watch C-dramas. I don't like writing. 만파. You don't understand. Too damn bad. My Chinese Spotify playlist. Past papers. 谢谢你们看。Hello， 大家好，好久不见，我是迪燕。今天呢，我告诉你们 how I passed the HSK3 exam in July。恭喜恭喜！我看到有人写在 YouTube 别的频道，有人写 she's talking about being good at a language, but she's not even speaking it in the video. How do we know that she's even good at it? 所以我给你们看。我可以说中文啊，我可以啊，不太好，但是我可以啊，我通过了。Anyways, the rest of the video is going to be in English. Hang on, a little more. I can try. 我去了台湾，我去了台北学习中文。嘛，我去语言学校学习中文2个礼拜，但是我住在台北5个月，因为I forgot the word， 我 quit 我的 job， 然后我马上去台湾，因为 the borders 在开了。I'm going to go into my background just a little bit. It's not the first time that I studied Chinese. It was actually one of my first languages, so it holds a little place right here in my heart. I studied at school. I have some confidence. I successfully managed to win a Chinese speaking competition at like 14, 15. It wasn't that serious. I could read a script, but my tones were so good that they said she needs to go to China, stat. So I went to Nanjing for 2 weeks. Then after that, I dabbled in, I say dabbled, I studied religiously actually. I focused on French and German. Then in university, I went on to study Japanese, and I could take Chinese and Spanish classes once or twice a week for about a semester. Recently, I decided now is the time for me to do the things that I want to do. I'm almost 30, and going to Taiwan was always on my list, and taking a language exam, again, technically, was also on my list. So I went and I took it. And I passed! So today I want to tell you how I passed the HSK3 exam. 我们开始吧。我用了这本书 only. 我只用了这本书啊。这本书叫신화공 HSK 탄화장. It's Korean and simplified Chinese. You can see that I also wrote traditional characters because I was and am still interested in Taiwan. And with Japanese, although Japanese uses simplified and traditional characters, I recognize a lot more of the traditional characters. So that's the only book I used. If I had it my way, I wouldn't have used a book. But that's how I failed the JLPT N2 exam the first time. Because I didn't want to study. I just wanted to listen to music, watch anime, and talk to people. But with these language exams, it's not necessarily about how good you are at the language, which is why some people say don't worry too much about if you fail an exam. My posture, my goodness. Don't get stressed out if you fail the exam. It's not reflective of your skills, and that is so true. This is the only book I used. I didn't listen to music. I didn't watch C-dramas. I didn't watch YouTube videos. I had already left Taiwan at that point and I wasn't using it daily. I used that book and I studied every single day. I made flashcards. HSK3, HSK2, the lighting's bad so you can't see it, and HSK1. What does this one say? 儿子终于学会用筷子了。等一下，他努儿工作了吗？我不会说阿拉伯语。我也是。我也不是。I don't know which one's right. I think it's the second one. Anyway, I made flashcards, and instead of bringing this book everywhere, I would bring these flashcards and focus. After the flashcards, I moved on to writing. Since there is a writing part in the exam, I needed to make sure that my handwriting was beautiful and legible. I didn't put too much stress on myself because writing isn't my favorite skill at all. I don't like writing. I like listening to Chinese and I like reading Chinese, despite not being on good terms with the Chinese characters. But that's reflective of my score. Was it 281? Let me look at my results real quick. 281 out of 300, reading 94 out of 100, writing 87 out of 100, and listening, Manfa, let's go! I was getting a little bit too stressed out and focused a lot on that when there are really, I think, 10 questions out of the whole exam. There is a writing section and you do need to pass it, but it's only 10 questions. So I stopped pouring my heart and soul into writing and decided to focus on listening and reading, the other skills that the exam tests. For listening, I listened to the audio at the gym while I was on the treadmill. I would shadow sometimes and repeat out loud, but I didn't want it to become a habit where I was mumbling after audio. But it was more important for my head, for my brain to understand what I was hearing. And being able to understand it quickly, because I knew with the exam, you can't pause, you can't replay it. Sometimes they did play it twice, which was really helpful, but you can't rely on that. You should be trying to get it right the first time, and while they're doing the replay for that question, you should be looking at the next question, trying to read it and make notes. I made notes all over that test paper, all over the test paper, mainly in shorthand and writing down what I heard. So for example, if the dialogue is 妈妈，我肚子饿了啊，你要吃什么？我要吃面包。Then I would write mum, hungry, and like bread. And then I would read the question if I hadn't read it before, like during that prep time, during the repetition time. I would read the question and go through the answers. For the HSK, everyone's going at the same pace. And if you finish early, you can't go back. You're on that page and you can't go back. You need to be confident and you need to be decisive. And so that's what I recommend focusing on when you're studying for the exam. When you're reading, read it once. If you don't understand, too damn bad. You're gonna have to do that next time you practice, but make a note of what you didn't get right. If you're doing writing, circle or like highlight all the ones that you got wrong and then do only those ones again. Some really important skills are focusing and pushing through. Those are the two skills that you need. It wasn't until the day or two before the actual exam was when I tried to have a bit more fun with it, loosen up a little bit. I didn't want to be stressed for the exam. So that's when I brought my Chinese Spotify playlist back. I didn't want to learn anything new. I didn't want to overwhelm myself with information, and I didn't want to push any other information out. Another resource that I do recommend for people who maybe don't have a good book with example sentences is the Do Chinese app. There is audio as well. You can shadow, you can rewrite. I also tried some karaoke, and that was good for recognizing characters. But my biggest and best resource besides the book that I used would be past papers and walkthroughs on YouTube. I will link my playlist down below. If you're taking the exam, I wish you the very best. I don't know how helpful this video was, but this is what I did to pass the HSK3 exam. 谢谢你们看，再见。